Once again, my name is Timothy Simmons, Memory Engagement Specialist for Cardinal Innovation, and thank you all for being here this morning. So now that I'm 18, so the information provided in this presentation is only for counties and Cardinal's catchment and service area. This information is specific to Cardinal Innovation services and may not apply to other organizations, providers, stakeholders, and individuals outside of the Cardinal Innovations area. Presentation slides are brief bullet points of information. It should not be used out of context. Also, I would like to say this: we're all at home, we're all in our houses, so definitely be comfortable. I'm going to add a little disclaimer to this since I'm at home today, and some of you may understand this. I have my 2-year-old grandson with me today, so if you happen to see a 2-year-old run through the screen, I'm okay. So, and hopefully you'll be okay too. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Our objectives for today are we're going to look at briefly touch on guardianship. We're also going to give some information on housing, Medicaid, and how Cardinal Innovations can help. As related to Cardinal Innovations for this training, and when this training was originally set up, it was set up, we were looking at individuals coming out of foster care, and also out, and I use the word institutional setting. That I don't like using that word, but for the training, we're looking at individuals who may be coming out of therapeutic foster care, who may be actually coming out of a placement, and these individuals are now turning 18. So we're looking at individuals who are individuals who suffer from mental health disorders and substance use disorders. And we're going to be trying to just provide some education and an overview of services offered by our providers. The population that we just mentioned usually go underserved, and a lot of times don't know where to go to get resources. And a lot of you on this call may be great resources. A lot of you probably on this call may be able to do this presentation without me, but we want to just share a little bit of information. We also want to make sure we understand that the individuals who are now being focused on this now that I'm 18 are individuals who are turning 18, and guess what? They're now adults. They're now responsible for themselves. And so if stuff has not been put in place, how they're being prepared. So as we move forward, that's one of the things we're going to be talking about today. As we talk about substance use disorder, we just don't want to get too much into definitions, but just, we're going to be focusing on it as it's a person who suffers from addiction, and that addiction is chronic. It affects the brain. It changes the structure of the brain. It leads to compulsive drug seeking, and it can lead to some harmful consequences. And it is a disease of the brain. So we have to remember that it's not just one of those situations where you could just tell somebody to get over it. And that's hard for a lot of people in our community. So we touched a little bit based on stigma. It changes the brain and the structure, how it works. When we look at mental health issue, it includes psychological, the social well-being, and how it affects how we think, feel, how we interact with our communities, individuals, our loved ones. The changes in the brain with long-lasting effects can be harmful and often lead to self-destruction behavior. And it affects how we deal with stress, and make choices. Mental health is important in every stage of life, from childhood to adolescence to adulthood. A lot of times we see mental health issues, or a person with mental health disorder a lot of times we say, what came first? Did the addiction come first, or did the mental health issue come first? And we're not going to debate that today. What we're focused on today is that a lot of times we see with addiction, people are trying to deal with those mental health issues. And sometimes we do see mental health issues that arise from addiction. But the main thing we want to do is we have to make sure we treat the mental health issues and also the addiction issues also. So very important that we address those issues also. As we move through these 4 topics, I'm going to send a link later on, and it's from it's www.drugabuse.gov. It's just kind of gives some information and definitions, and then www.mentalhealth.gov. They will also be coming in an email from Steve later. I was not able to get it in the presentation. All righty. What are my options? What happens after I turn 18? A lot of times we see individuals who are just, hey, I'm 18 now, I'm gone. Do I have college plans? Is there employment, or both? We need to make sure that we have options for these individuals. If they complete high school, what's going to happen? How are they going to handle that stress? If they're coming out of facility, were they just given all this stuff in a black plastic bag and say, okay, you're 18, you're on your own now? Was there a discharge plan set up? Was there a transition plan set up? So those things that we have to look at. If we were live, we would facilitate a great discussion at this point about how individuals with substance use disorder and mental health disorders, how does this affect them when they get out? Because now you're dealing with the person who has certain behavior, certain things going on in their life, and how are they going to handle this? Because, a lot of times, because this could be physically debilitating for individuals. When we look at mental health disorders, we could look at people who are having issues with aches, pains, headaches, lack of ability to communicate. So how does it affect my options? What options do I have? What supports do I have? So as we move through this, if you guys have questions towards that, definitely put them in. One of the things that we also look at, were there training programs available? So for individuals as they move forward. Guardianship. What is a guardian? What is the legal definition? Who are the people support you, guys, who have your best interests in mind? A guardian is a person who has the authority to care for the person and the property interests of another person. The state uses the word ward. I don't like using that word ward, but the state uses the word ward. And they can make decisions for that individual. We like to use the individual, and we like to use the word supported decision making. We all need help with making decisions. When you go buy a car, you need help with making a decision. When you buy a home, you need help with making a decision. So that's what we're going to use. Hear me say a lot is, who's helping you making that decision? What supports do you have there also? As I stated here, legal guard is a person who has authority to take care of a person or property interest of another person. Is called the ward. A person should demonstrate, a legal guardian should demonstrate they are competent and understand the decisions being made and the outcomes of each decision in order to remain their own guardian. So are you your own guardian? Is the person that you have as a guardian over you competent enough to be your guardian? So those are things that we have to look at too. We also look at this from, are you getting full guardianship? Is it limited guardianship? Is it temporary guardianship? So putting those things in place. One of the things that we do see in guardianship, and I've run into through my little bit over 8 years in this field, working with different agencies and different transition coordinators, the people understand when to do guardianship, and and how to apply for guardianship. We do a brief class on guardianship. I'm not going to do it right now, but we do a brief class on guardianship. And for a lot of people, they don't understand what that means. Even for me, I have a daughter with special abilities, and when we were talking to a family member, they're like, okay, well, you got to get guardianship. And we were like, well, what do you mean? They're like, well, you got to get guardianship. And it's like, she's my daughter. But when she turns 18 in the state of North Carolina, she's her own guardian. So that was really new to us when we first moved here and started going through this process. And a lot of people don't understand that. I run into a lot of people, a lot of families, loved ones, who say, hey, I need to do such and such for my loved one. And a lot of times the first thing we ask is the age. And then the next thing we say, okay, do you have guardianship? Or do you have something saying that you're them given permission to speak to us? So that's why guardianship and those different types of guardianships are very important. Just because a person has a mental health diagnosis of substance use disorder does not mean that they need a guardian. They may need help making decisions. So that plays a big part in that role also. I'm just going to pause a second if you guys have any questions, to type them in. Understanding your rights will help allow you to make informed decisions, advocate for yourself, and be a responsible member of society. We all want our loved ones and individuals to be able to support themselves in their communities, in their abilities to function. Because those of us who are legal guardians or have loved ones who suffer from mental health disorder or substance use disorder, we're not always going to be around. We're getting older. Life changes. So we want individuals to be able to take care themselves. Guardians need to be there to help. They don't need to impede. They need to help the individuals making choices. Help the individual keep themselves safe. A lot of times, actually, will Bill be able to go down to the store, and if he gave him $10, go buy a loaf of bread and sandwich meat and something to drink, and understand how to do that. Do they understand if they're in the home and something happens, like a fire, to dial 911? What influences that they have in their life? Will someone take them down to the car dealership and have them sign paperwork to get a car, and they not understand what's happening? So that's why supported decision making is very important, and who helps you with that. So these are some of the things that when we look at when someone turns 18, what are their rights? What are their responsibilities? Moving forward from that. All right. Housing resources for individuals who are turning 18. I'm going to pull up this website and also share it with Steve. And when we go through the question and answer session, I could pull it up. There was some information that I sent out that individuals may need when trying to get housing. So the North Carolina Housing .org is a great website. So I'm hoping this pulls up real quick. All right. So this is the Housing Coalition. They're leading the movement to ensure that North Carolina has a home in which to live with dignity. So they have a lot of great resources here in this North Carolina Housing Coalition. They cover as far as affordable housing. There's a I was trying to pull up our members, and I hope you guys can see this when it comes up. It's as as a membership organization, we're only as strong as our members. Luckily, the members are some of the best affordable housing in the business. So we have ARP. Some of the ones that I was trying to think about in our areas, we have Carolina Community Developers, Community Home Trust. So just a great list of housing options for us. Habitat Humanity of Orange County, Greensboro, Forsyth, Durham, Charlotte. So this is a great resource for housing for individuals also. Let me get out of this. Also, when we look at housing resources, we also have to be advocates in our community. And one of the things that we need to do is let people know the need of housing. And when I say let individuals know, we're talking about letting our realtors, letting our landlords and people that you know that there is a need for housing. Several years ago, there was a company that was doing Section 8 housing in the Orange and Chatham and Person County area, and that company was not based in North Carolina, but they decided to stop doing Section 8 housing, which put a lot of people at risk. And we got a lot of phone calls about that. What are you going to do? How are you going to stop this? And unfortunately, we live in a free enterprise society, and this is a business for those individuals. And unfortunately, their thing was we're going to not do Section 8 housing anymore. So unfortunately, that put a lot of people at risk. But what was needed as a community was to say, hey, what are you seeing? What's going on? And then as advocates, letting our community know this is going to cause a lot of stress, but also getting individuals to understand that, hey, we need to have more individuals who are willing to help provide housing for individuals with substance use disorder, mental health issues, and even with intellectual and developmental disabilities also. So that is very important as advocates, that we understand that. What does housing look like in your community where that individual is going to be going to? How much does it cost? Right now in Charlotte, I was just recently looking at it because I have some family members moving there, and my daughter's going to school there. But on the average in Charlotte, for a one-bedroom apartment, you're going to pay somewhere close to $1,200 to $1,300. I know that several years ago, when in the Orange Chapel Hill area, since it's such a high student population, even you were paying close to $700-800 just for a room in a 3-bedroom apartment. So what is going on with housing in your community, and what is the access to transportation? What is the access to resources when it comes to that housing? Yes, you might be able to find a home or a place to live, but is it outside the county lines? Is it outside the transportation or the city transportation? So what things are going to be there, and what resources are there for the individuals? All right, so right now we're going to do a quick activity. So let's see, can I reduce this? I hope everyone can see this. This is called making choices. So we just talked about what does it cost to live in your community. What does housing look like in your community? Now, I'm just going to go over this since we're not in the classroom together. This is something that you can actually do at home. You can pull it up. If not, I definitely can forward it. I think I did forward it to Steve. I don't know if he actually sent it out. But we could definitely get it to something that maybe you could even just do in the home with your loved ones. And this is definitely great for our individuals as they age. And as making choices, and as it states here, you need to invest your resources. We usually have a little fun with this. You usually have either M&Ms or Skittles where individuals can use them and then enjoy the treats. But we also want individuals to understand what resources are needed to survive. So it says if you had 15 candy budget to spend every month, how would you spend it? What would be your priorities? So if you have something there you can use, you can even color if you have a pencil or something there to color in. You need to make your choices on each category. You could skip a category. So here's some of the parameters behind this. So I'm just going to give you a second to go through this. So you're married. You both work. You have a son and a daughter. But for this exercise, we're going to say you're not so much married, but you're dating. You just turned 18. You're going to move in with the love of your life. So you're 18, moving in with the love of your life, and you do have one kid. We're going to go one kid. So you need to now decide what's your housing going to look like. So what is your housing going to look like? Where are you going to live? So just take a second and look at that. What is your health care? No health insurance. You have to pay all your health related costs, or health insurance for you and the family through your employer. Food, 2 meals a day, 3 meals a day, or 1 meal a day. So just take a second, read through those. I'll give you 2 or 3 minutes to read through those and make your choices. Remember, you have 15 candies, which is your budget, or you can mark 15 spaces. And just remember, those 15 choices are going to be something that is going to affect you. All right, so take just a quick second to do that. All righty. So you've made your 15. You place your 15 candies or marks or whatever on your paper. But I have to throw a wrinkle in there. Your child has strep throat. You got to take them to the doctor. So now you have to take 2 candies off because now you have to apply those resources to health insurance. Okay? So you got to take 2 candies off. Also, that same day, due to COVID-19, you got laid off with no severance pay. So you got to take 4 candies off. So where are you going to remove those 4 candies from? Or those 4 marks from? And this exercise is really something when we're in the class, especially when we're dealing with the youth or those supporting you, how are you going to make those decisions? What's important? Do I need a car? Do I not need a car? Do I need a cell phone? Do I need to be near a laundromat? Do I need to have a washing machine and dryer in the house? How close am I to the resources? It really makes a difference. I know that this is just a stimulation of a game, but think about it, real life. You come home and, you've worked hard all day and you get home, it's like, oh, it's awfully warm in here, and the AC went out. $5,000. Where are you going to pull those resources from? Now think about individuals who, with substance use disorder, mental health disorders, and they're trying to get on their feet and they're trying to make it, and resources and having the ability to deal with these struggles. What resources do they have? Not everybody's in the same boat, no, but what resources are available to those individuals to get through this? And do they know how to manage those resources? And is there someone there helping them to manage those resources? All righty, let me go back to the PowerPoint. All right, things to do at 18. What do I need to make decisions about? Definitely life, medical and behavioral. Am I connected to resources? Is the individual able to make decisions in this area of medical and behavioral health? Resources that are available. Education. Do I want to continue education? Do I need job training? What resources are available for there? Employment. Is there supported employment? Are there job training programs that are available? Finances. Do I understand how to handle finances? Opening up a checking account and savings account. Have I done things in the past that may prevent me from doing these things? Establishing credit. Have I done things in the past that may have messed up my credit? Being in relationships. Do I want to engage in a relationship and decide to get married? What does that look like? Sometimes some of the stuff we see where individuals are not getting married because if they get married, they're going to lose their benefits. So what does that look like? We just finished talking about housing. One of the things we have to look at with that is, where do I live and how close to the stuff I live? This next one, which I'm sorry I did not cover in the guardianship, when we look at guardianship, you have to be careful with this one. And I know it varies by area. If you get guardianship, especially if you get full guardianship, there are situations where people have been denied the right to vote. I think it's maybe 3 or 4 years ago, there was a situation where Disability Rights in North Carolina had to come into a county and say, hey, you can't take this right away from individuals just because someone is their guardian. It varies. So what does that guardianship look like? And you have to make sure you look at those things when you're trying to get or you're seeking those supported decision-making levels. As it goes even as far as driving. Some areas won't even allow the person to hold a driver's license based on the type of guardianship you have over the individual. So those are things that, decisions that have to be made once an individual turns 18. Are you an advocate for yourself? Are you able to speak and express your rights and stuff to individuals? Are you able to get information out to individuals on your behalf? This is very important. This is something that we need to really make sure individuals are educated on when it comes to the types of guardianship, full limited power attorney, medical power attorney, payees also. So those are very important. Do you have a list of people who you can trust that are reliable, that can act on your behalf as a guardian, and help you make these decision makings? For example, caregivers, social workers, guidance counselor. They also help you make these decisions and can help you with getting understanding. Teachers, even through Cardinal Innovation, we offer several things. We do, of course, now that I'm turning 18, we do Upward to Financial Stability. We do other resources. I do a class that helps individuals with making choice for dealing with intellectual developmental disabilities, for dealing with relationships. So these are some of the things that we have to look at when we turn 18. Ways to apply for Medicaid. Do you know how to apply for Medicaid? Cardinal Innovations itself does not help with the application process, but you're going to need your birth certificate, proof of citizenship, social and security card, or the information that you have applied, copies of pay stubs, all medical and life insurance policies. They're going to look at all this stuff. You can apply online. You can apply at your county Department of Social Service, fill out paper applications and mail and drop off at Department of Social Service. We also have listed here information and websites. We have wellness centers in some of our areas, and I have in the past gone to the wellness center, met an individual there if they have had lack of access to a computer. We have done the application online. So that may be an option for them, or having meeting individuals at the library so they could get online. And some people do need the help to do this. If individuals qualify for B3 services, they may be able to get a community guide that could help them with that also. But it's very important. Usually this process, if someone is does not already have Medicaid, can be kind of, you got to be patient, but also you also remember if they're applying and they're getting ready to become an adult, you want to start this process even at 17, maybe 17 and a half, and getting that paperwork and stuff in order. Even if a person already has Medicaid, there's a difference once they move from child Medicaid to adult Medicaid. Yes, you're just basically doing some paperwork, but don't wait till the last minute to do that paperwork. Make sure you're being proactive in getting that stuff also. Same thing with guardianship. Don't wait. If you're going to get some type of guardianship, don't wait until the 18th birthday to do it. You need to start 17 and a half, or even at 17, but most places 17 and a half, you're okay with that. So as we stated before, having that birth certificate, proof of citizenship status or identity card, if you've applied for Social Security, proof that you've made the applications, proof of documentation to verify that you live in North Carolina or whatever state you're in, copies of paycheck stubs from the last month or so that could show your employment, medical, and life insurance policy. Now, for some, if you're coming out of foster care or coming out of some type of facility care or institutional care, you may not know where your birth certificate is. This is going to be where you're going to have to, okay, do you know where the individual was born? And do you have to go to that county and go to vital records and apply for that? So that may be some things that individuals may have to do. And for some individuals, it may be a little bit more daunting, and who can help them with that. And a lot of times I do say this: be patient. This is a process, and especially with everything that's going on right now, the process sometimes is a lot more than social distancing. A lot of places are even closed right now, so can you even get to that information also? We also want to make sure that we're focused on promoting health, wellness, and what does this mean? For individuals who are in the population that we're talking about, we need to make sure those individuals stay well. Anyone who's engaged in services, and when I say services, if they have a clinical home, a provider, a doctor, a primary doctor care, they need to make sure that they are always being monitored for their medicines and how it's affecting them. Anyone who's being prescribed medicines or treatments without some type of monitoring by individuals or physician assistants, how it's affecting the individual, we need to make sure that that is happening, because you need to know how that is changing that individual, how it's affecting that individual, and it also may make a difference in how they're making the decision. Are they taking part in preventative things, wellness programs? Friend of mine who's a peer support specialist, long-time recovery, one of the things that they always talked about was the physical exercise, being able to get that physical exercise and being able to get out in the community and do stuff. What education are you getting? Not only about your situation, but about what treatments and are available. Navigation, community, social services, vocational rehabilitation, supports that are available in your community, Down syndrome, Autism Society, NAMI, First and Families, just to name a few. There are others, Mental Health of America. There's so many resources in our communities, and you can also reach out to us. We can help connect you to those resources. What does transition look like? When I say transition, if we have individuals who are aging and becoming older, what does that transition look like for individuals with substance use disorder and mental health, or even intellectual and developmental disabilities? So what does that transition look like? On the intellectual and developmental disability side, one of my passions is transition should not start in your 9th and 10th grade year. Your 10th and 11th grade year of high school. This needs to start at middle school, because what are you working on to get that person ready to go out and be independent as they can in their communities? So that promoting wellness is very important. How is that person going to stay well if we engage them in the community and having them be supported in the community? Community-based mental health services. We have peer supports. Peer support is available, and for adults, I wish we did have some type of peer support structure per se that mimic the adult. It doesn't. We do have some support groups or family support groups, but there is no peer support groups right now for, as we look at the state definition of peer support services for teens. Is an individualized recovery-focused approach that promotes development and wellness and self-management and personal recovery. These are people with lived experiences that can help an individual get through the pitfalls, help support that individual. We have individual supports. It's a periodic service intended to support an individual who has living an independent residence or transitioning to an independent residence from a licensed residential facility within the first 3 months, and the service provides assistance with daily living activities, including preparing meals, managing money, shopping, housing necessity, using the telephone, house cleaning, laundry. So those are some of the supports that individuals can also reach out to. Also, there's social rehabilitation program is designed to help adults with behavioral health challenges increase their ability to live independently, minimizing their need for ongoing professional intervention, helps individuals set up and pursue their own personal goals, and implementing steps to better manage their illness every day. And self-advocacy is definitely a big part of that also. And also it connects with pre-vocational and vocational activities too. We also have assertive community treatment teams. You may have individuals use the terminology called ACT teams. It's an evidence-based model of comprehensive psychiatric care designed for those with serious persistent mental illness, namely schizophrenia, spectrum disorder, and other prominent psychiatric features. The service is expected. It provides a wide range of services, but most thing from what I've seen, based on my experience, it gives you that team. It gives you a more hands-on. It provides service planning, psychotherapy, substance use disorder treatment, psychoeducation, peer supports, housing assistance. Just really puts a wraparound around that person. And then you have your community support team. And the community support team, it enhances the care, and it usually runs somewhere approximately from 2 to 12 months, and it's a community-based, assertive, team-based service, which include case management, psychotherapy, psychoeducation, crisis response. Not as intensive as assertive community treatment, but it still gives you that support for those individuals who also need it also. Just going to pause there in case anyone has any questions about that. Things to know about Cardinal Innovation Healthcare. We cover 20 counties in North Carolina, all the way from Mecklenburg, all the way to what we call our 5-county area, Halifax, Henderson, Roanoke, Rapids, that area, Granville. So we have a widespread. Myself, I cover the Orange, Person, Chatham, Alamance, Caswell area with my team of Felicia Williamson, Jennifer Munch, and Danielle Woodall, and our supervisor manager is Lynn Edmond. So we have a pretty good team who's engaged in the community. Cardinal Innovations also seeks to improve the health and wellness of individuals with complex needs by collaborating with local providers and stakeholders. And that's very important because, we need to know what's going on, and we need to know how we can help, and then working with those. And I have, worked with Mr. Bailey and Josh's Hope in the past to provide some trainings, but they've also helped educate me because we don't know everything. and they help connect the resources. So that's why that collaboration is very important. Even in light of what's happening today, having those resources and that collaboration helps us get information and resources out to individuals. So that's very important. Carter Innovations Healthcare, yes, we are a managed care organization. So for some of you, you may be on the, not sure who's all on today, you might be on the Alliance, Trillium, Via, Partners, East Point, I think I'm getting everybody, Sand Hills. So it's according where you are, what managed care organization that you fall under. As stated before, me and Felicia are a member engagement. We work with health promotion, education, navigation, and support for members. We help get information out. We want to know, we help individuals with making sure they know about the registry of unmet needs. Usually we're always sending emails out. There's a Monday conference call with DHS for consumer and families. We're usually always sending that out to our community partners to make sure they're getting that information out there. This is my first virtual training, but we're trying to get more virtual trainings up during this time where people are having to stay at home and not have access to being able to meet in person, get education and out to individuals. Population health is looking at members post-care. These are individuals who are coming out of some type of setting, and maybe an individual who may have been in a treatment and then they're being discharged, making sure that integrated care is being there, what services are being wrapped around that individual. Community engagement, that is going to be for our area, Danielle Woodall and Jennifer Munch. We also train with them also. We do the mental health first aid training, QPR, which is a suicide prevention training, psychosis simulation. There's a trauma training education piece there. And then working with our community stakeholders and to get these trainings out to individuals. And also being involved in the health collaboratives, the Regional Health Council, and CFACS, and being involved with those things and making sure that the information is getting out. System of Care is a network of community-based service support organizations to meet the family needs. I think my first interaction with Julie Bell, I think, may have been at a System of Care meeting in OPC. So a lot of Chapel Hill, we use acronyms, the Chapel Hill area. So that is really important because we come in and we try to help families engage in understanding what resources are there and making sure the family voice is being heard also. Transition to community living. Some of you may have heard about what we call the DOJ settlement. This has been going on for several years, and basically what happened, the Department of Justice came in and said that individuals have been placed in settings that were not appropriate. So through that settlement, the state of North Carolina has to find to get these people integrated, get individuals integrated and back into the community. So mental health, substance use disorder, and intellectual developmental disabilities, if they're dual diagnosed. So the TCL program is very, very much up and running, helping individuals to get re-engaged in their community. And this is a lot of times with individuals who might have a certain community team or have that community support team also. You have our access line there, and that is 1-800-939-5911. We also have Star Ask. That is a new line that has come out due to the COVID-19 dealing with the pandemic. Really, that line is there to help individuals who need help trying to keep, well, that sounds bad, but if individual needs to call 911, please, but really it's for individuals who have mental health, substance use issues that could call this line and they could get individuals there that could help them and help direct them to the right resources, so individuals aren't bombarding the ERs or maybe overwhelming 911. So these are trained professionals who are doing the STAR ask. Care coordination department, individuals can have care coordinators. Members of care coordinating service for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and mental health and substance use disorders also. So just with care coordination, it does have to meet certain triggers, if you want to say that word, or it has to meet certain requirements in order to get care coordination. Not everyone gets care coordination. Right now, we're working on a program where our department is helping follow up with individuals who are being discharged from maybe hospitals or institutions who maybe did not have the discharge plan, maybe did not connect them to care coordination, making sure they're following up on first visits, following on doctor appointments, make sure they're getting the prescriptions filled. So we also working through that through our community operations also. But care coordination is available for those who meet the markers or the criteria for that also. That ends my presentation. I just want to make sure everyone has the crisis line number. We have our Cardinal website information there, and also there's my information if you wish to contact me, or you definitely could call through the 800 number, and they could also transfer you to individuals in the community.